You're listening to Street Life, a podcast about street photography with John ST and Mark Davidson.
You're listening to Street Life. I'm Mark Davidson, a street photographer from Melbourne, Australia. And with me, as always, my buddy from Sydney, Mr. John ST. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks, Mark. How are you, Mr. Husky Voice?
Oh, apologies for the
Listen
voice,
to us.
everyone. Yeah, that's... I'm a little unwell today, but I'm going to soldier on. So apologies for the voice.
Yeah, it's not self-inflicted this time, though, is it, Mark? It's
No.
actually man flu.
Bit of man flu that's going around Melbourne at the moment. But yeah, I could record my country album. So.
Hi, I'm Barry White. Yeah. How you been anyway? You had a big birthday.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm officially old now. Turned 40 last week, so
Pension age. Not in Australia. You've got a long way to go yet, mate.
And funnily enough, I did my knee and it hasn't healed, so it's all going downhill.
What do you mean you've done your knee?
Well, I just sort of, had a bit of a twist and when you're a young man, you just sort of bounce back and it heals the next day. Not this time, getting old.
Listen to you. When you're a young man, you're only 40, mate.
Only.
Did you do anything special?
Went down to Apollo Bay, the beach, with my wife, which is great. So really chilled birthday. So yeah, I didn't have a big party on my 40th. I was just out for dinner with the wife, and it was great. Loved it.
That's nice. So Anita didn't have a surprise party for you?
Down the beach? No, it was just us two. So yeah.
Oh, that's nice. How romantic.
It was. It was very.
How lazy is Anita not to organise a surprise party for you? That's horrendous.
Do you know what? Surprise parties are the worst thing.
They are.
I couldn't cope if that happened. No.
They're difficult. Lisa organised the surprise 40th for me. It was.
Oh, really?
It was nice, but it's awkward. It's awkward.
Two things. I mean, surprise parties and dress-up parties. Not my cup of tea, to be honest. So.
I don't want to know about your dress-up parties, Mark. No one wants to know about that. Some things are best kept private, Mark.
Yeah. We'll leave that to the other podcast. Yeah.
And what else? You've caught up with someone special this week, haven't you, Mark?
Oh, have I? Human. Yes, I have. Yesterday, I just did his Coffee and Cameras YouTube appearance, so that'll come out in the coming months, which is lovely. I've only met Human a couple of times. Lovely man, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Great black and white photographer, and we just had a bit of a chat. Walked around the city. It was great. Yeah. Really.
Yeah, he's in Melbourne more than he is in Sydney these days.
Yeah, he's working down here.
He's there a lot for work. That's good. So you did Coffee and Cameras, did you?
Yeah, people should go and check out his channel if they haven't. Coffee and Cameras, Human Katuzzi on YouTube. It's
How long did your episode go for, Mark?
I don't. I know.
How long did it go for, Mark?
Half of the time that you spent talking to him. It was probably about 30, 35 minutes. He's probably
30 minutes?
It's probably like, I'm sick of this guy. And that's us done. You did an hour.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
I did, I did a lot longer than that, Mark.
I'll show
But you
off.
know what? It's not about the length. It's the quality of the time you're talking, Mark. All right. So I'm sure you shared lots of pearls of wisdom with everybody that when it comes up, he's probably not going to actually do anything with it, Mark, to be honest.
He'll probably do it,
It's going to end up on the cutting room floor, that one.
Oh, sorry, my iPhone broke. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah. But I'm sure when it comes up, it'll be worth a listen.
I doubt it.
I can't wait to hear.
I'm probably going to... Well, no.
Can you give us any tidbits, Mark?
No, well, let's wait and see. I can't even remember what I said. It was all horrendously boring, I'm sure, so probably no one's going to watch my episode. But anyway, it was fun talking to Human. I enjoy that. He's an interesting lad and very passionate about photography, so it's always good catching up and having a chat.
Awesome. I'm glad. He is a nice lad. So did everybody go and meet him? Did you have a big gathering? And
yeah, we went to the pub on Friday. And
the pub?
Yeah, the pub, which is good.
They're supposed to be street photographers, Mark.
Yeah, well, it was night time. We could have gone out and shot the Aurora Australis. I don't know if you saw that, John, all the way up in Sydney, but it was going off last night, the Southern Lights. My Instagram feed was filling up with beautiful pink, green skies. It was amazing. I didn't see it, though, so...
No, we couldn't see it here in Sydney either because it's been raining for about 4 weeks.
Oh, really?
It's been horrendous, yeah.
Come down here.
I'm building an ark at the minute.
It's beautiful down here. It's, sort of late autumn, sun. It's fantastic. It's been 18 degrees, sunny the last few days.
Rub it in, Mark. Rub it in. So you didn't go and photograph it?
No, I was too busy watching movies.
Mark, before this, you mentioned that you didn't go and photograph it because you're a black and white photographer now.
I've only got black and
And
white
it would
film,
be
so
rather pointless.
yeah, it wouldn't look very good, would it?
Yeah,
just
it wouldn't look very good.
Look like clouds.
But you've got a big, massive hunking full frame camera that you used to carry around in a backpack, haven't you?
Yeah,
Mark?
I don't even know if I've got the battery charger for that anymore. It's just sitting on the shelf. So.
You could have cracked that out and photographed it. It would have looked beautiful.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
But alas.
Become a landscape photographer.
Yeah, could have got a tripod, could have got a nice hat.
You could. With your landscape hat on and stuff, and I'm sure you would have entered those competitions and won those ones too, Mark.
No, some filters and some waders. It could have been great.
Filters. Oh man, these people who put these filters and that on. I couldn't think of anything worse. Couldn't think anywhere like bird spotters. Nah, thanks. But anyway, the photos that other people got were beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking those photos.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have seen the amazing event without them. So thank you.
Well, speaking of filters, we should probably filter us.
Yes, we should.
And crack on.
We should move on. We should move on because our guest is nodding off.
We've got an amazing guest today. We're crossing all the way over to Italy. So go and do the honours, John.
Today, we're joined by Francesca Chiacchio. She's an award-winning Italian street photographer based in Naples, Italy. Her work has been exhibited in various photography exhibitions worldwide and has been featured in numerous international magazines. Francesca is a member of the street photography collective Through the Lands and has been a guest speaker and judge at the Italian Street Photo Festival. It gives us great pleasure to welcome Francesca to the Street Life podcast. Thanks for joining us, Francesca.
Hi, guys. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Not a problem,
Very happy
Francesca.
to be here.
Thank you so much for your time, Francesca. We're absolute huge fans of your work, and I love the use of layering and the vibrancy of your photos. And so let's just start at the beginning. So when did you discover the passion for taking photos as an art form?
Well, I actually started taking pictures when I was at university, just for for some studies I was doing. I was shooting black and white only.
Oh wow!
With sepia filter. I don't know why I like the sepia because it gave me like the old style feeling.
Yeah.
And then soon after I graduated, I took a photography course, and soon after I went to US. I went to live in New York, and my dream was to become a professional photographer. But once there, I realized it wasn't that easy. So I ended up taking pictures like throughout my life. But actually, only when I came back to Italy, I start, I think it was because of Instagram, because I was seeing a lot of pictures and I start liking, the styles I was looking at, the colors. My first approach was with silhouettes. I love silhouettes, which I don't like right now at all. I don't do it. But at the beginning, it was all about that. So, and then what changed really my life was meeting Vinit Vora.
Oh, yes.
Is the Indian street photographer.
Amazing, yeah.
From Delhi. Because he came to the Italian Street Photography Festival in 2018. So I took a workshop with him, and actually Julia Codidon was there too.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But I knew Julia through Instagram already. I mean, to me, she was already like one of my favorite photographers at the time. And then after that, I've been following Vinit Vora throughout the years. I took different workshops with him, and I think he made the change for me. Absolutely, he was my guru.
So Francesca, let's just go back a little bit, right? So you started off in Naples. You did your degree. I think it was in architecture. Is that correct?
Yes.
You were going to be an architect, and then you made a big decision to go and move to New York. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Big
And
decision.
you lived there for some time.
Yeah, I lived there for almost 10 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's a little while. Now, I just want to ask. Now, you weren't a street photographer when you were in New York.
I mean, I was going around with my camera, but the
Yeah.
difference is that I wasn't including people.
Ah, okay.
I was just taking pictures mostly of buildings and and billboards. I love billboards. So it was more about let's say, the combination of these two elements. I like it a lot. So it was more about patterns, let's say.
Okay. So that started your passion, yeah? And then you moved back to Naples, is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, look at me, I've done all my research, so that's wonderful. So
Parkinson, here we go.
Now where I'm getting to here is, now you moved back to Naples, and I'll touch back on that in a minute, but do you ever have any regrets now that you weren't a street photographer when you were living in New York?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I would love to go back there and live there again, at least for 1 year, just to shoot around. But I usually go every year, and I still have a lot of friends there. It's my second city. I feel home, and I love New York. So I have in my mind to go there for a while, also because I have a project I want to work on, but I need the money for it. So we'll see.
It's always about the money, isn't it? Unfortunately.
It's all about money. In New York, especially in New York.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it is really interesting though, because you said that you went to New York to become a professional photographer, and you've almost, correct me if I'm wrong, you're doing that in Italy. So you sort of moved back and become a professional photographer. I know you do a lot of workshops, a lot of teaching, a lot of judging. So is it your full-time profession now, or you still you're still in architecture or other endeavors?
No, I gave up architecture in 2019. And because I want to become an art teacher. Nice. And then pandemic came and everything stopped. And actually, in Italy, it's very hard to become a teacher. Very, very hard in public school. So you have to take a lot of tests, exams. And so because of the pandemic, I finished my exams in 2023. So probably, I'm gonna become a real teacher next year. Oh, wow. So by now I'm just doing photography, but I cannot say I live out of photography. Yeah. Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Well, congratulations on almost reaching your goal.
Absolutely.
So that's an interesting thing, because we all end up. Photography tends to be a hobby for most of us, yeah. But then, lots of people always tell you, oh, you should try to make a living out of it, and etc., etc. But we all know how difficult the arts can be to live. So you went from being an architect in New York, and I'm sure, that helped pay the bills in New York.
Oh,
How have you found the transition? You're following your dream and you're following your passion. Yeah. And I think that's very admirable, and a lot of us would be envious of you for doing that. You're going to become a teacher as well. So how have you found the transition, and have you had any regrets?
No regrets at all, because I finally became what I want to be. Wonderful. I'm very happy with my life at this point, and I realized that very late. I regret that, but probably when you are in your 20s or in your 30s, you don't really know what you want from your life. I realized that just lately. So I'm happy with that, because I feel much better. I'm happy. And yes, my life is different, because I cannot do all the things I will do if I was working as an architect. But whatever, I prefer to be happy and have less money.
That's wonderful. I'm so pleased for you. That's awesome.
Absolutely, Francesca. And this is so interesting. There's so much I want to talk to you about, but just really quickly, just picking up on that, when I look at your photographs, I see so much joy and energy and vibrancy, and it really does look like you're really happy taking photographs. I know you've just been in Spain photographing for 4 days, and you said before this we switched the record button on, you said you took 4,000 photos, which is amazing, and your work is just full of just positivity and energy. So what does photography mean to you? I guess it really does make you happy.
I think it's just a form of expression. I feel like through photography, I express myself, and it's something that I have inside. It's not something that I think about it. It comes from inside. I get passionate when I see things that I like, and as you can see, I realize I really like photographic events. So that's what I'm doing mostly. I'm not going around like to catch the picture of the day. It's not what I'm looking for right now. I mean, I've been doing that for a while, but I'm trying to work on projects and long-term projects and more ideas than shooting around the city, catching the right moment. I mean, I know street photography, it's all about that, but I'm kind of trying to do something a little bit different from what I was doing before, because I feel better this way. Yeah, it's more similar on who I am. Yeah.
But street photography is we keep talking about this on the podcast with lots of people. There's people who are called gatekeepers who think that street photography is very limited to one thing. So it doesn't really matter. I think that what you're doing, even though you're going to events, you're still capturing moments in time, candid moments that are happening there and then. You're not going there as a photographer to photograph the exhibition or whatever, and you're being paid. You're there to catch spontaneous, happy moments between people. And as Mark mentioned, you do that so well. Now, I want to ask you, you just mentioned before that you didn't take photos of people, you took it of architecture, and then you progressed to silhouettes, which everybody does, yeah, when we first start. How did you, I look at your photos and they're so filled with so many things. There's hardly any space left in the frame. There's always multiple layers. The whole frame of your photos is full of information. How have you gone from where you started to where you are now? Because you seem to have done a remarkable job of it. How did that all come about?
As I said before, I really have to thank Vinit Vora for this. Because he's very strict as a teacher. I cried a lot during his workshops. Yeah, wow. Because of course you stress when you are, like 4 days. For example, last time I was with him in India. We went to shoot this Kumbh Mela, which is an Hindu festival. And it was like crazy. We were waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, shooting all day long, going back, reviewing until 1 o'clock. It's a hard job to do that because you sleep very little. You have a lot of energy, and I could barely sleep actually. After reviewing the pictures, editing the pictures, I really could barely sleep. So it's a stressful thing to do. And that's why I was crying because at the end, maybe you don't get the pictures you wanted, or maybe, I don't know, you see, it's also the comparison with other people that they're taking the workshop with you. And especially at the beginning, I remember I was very stressed because I saw the people that were shooting with me, they were much better than me. So let's say I became very competitive, especially with men, because usually men are I don't know. I sometimes I feel are better because maybe they are more technical. They know how to use the camera better. But you know, so maybe that's one of the reasons why I became so precise, and also because of my architectural, I am very precise. I like symmetry. So I'm used to read images, and also because I also studied art. So I just like the composition. I mean, for me, composition is the main thing in a picture. So that's why now you see that kind of framing and layering, because I really look for the best frame I can get.
Well, I have to say, Francesca, one thing about composition, if you're doing light and shadow like I do, you can have time to frame up and picture something. But the sort of photos that you're taking, you might have composition in your head, but you don't have much time to be able to put it together. So I think that's some of those things can be taught, but that's a gift. Yeah. So I think that you have a natural talent for that. So well done. Now, I just want to ask, you said that you developed this style by going to India, yeah? Do you think that that helped you a lot because it was easier to photograph in those situations, being so close to people, as opposed to maybe, I don't know how the Italians would feel being photographed like that, whereas in India it might be a bit easier. Did you find that was a benefit to you when you first started?
Absolutely. I mean, I did go to India only last year, and it was my first time.
Oh, wow.
And actually, that changed, I think that changed my way of photographing a lot. Because it was the first time I feel totally free. So I knew nobody was coming to me to, yell at me, or maybe they were putting hands over their faces, or whatever. It can happen I think in every European cities and let's say Western cities. So it changed in that way. It changed a lot my way of photography. I think, if I see my progress, I think that was a crucial point. It was very important to me to go there. And now I have to say it's all about confidence. So once you know what you want from the picture, and once you are more confident with what you want and what you're shooting, then whatever is around, really, it doesn't bother you. Let's say I'm not bothered anymore from whatever can happen to me, because I know what I want. Even now, I see, I see my approach is changed.
It seems like a real breakthrough, Francesca. I mean, that's such a ringing endorsement of Vinit's workshop. I mean, you went there, you said it was tough. You cried, you burst into tears, but at the end of it, you've taken away all these valuable skills that you've been able to transplant back to your work in Europe. And I think that's fantastic, because we speak to a lot of people who do workshops, and they get a varying degrees out of the workshop. I spoke to someone last week who actually said to the teacher, just be really harsh, tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I want to learn. But it sounds like that you had this amazing experience with Vinit and in India, and you're reaping the benefits of that now. And so how did you go about taking those skills from India and doing it in Italy?
I don't think it's about skills. I think it's more about, as I say, the knowing what you want.
Yeah.
It's just once you know once you try and see that you can get the best framing you're looking for, because you are in the best conditions you could ever get, like in India, then you tell yourself, okay, that's what I want. That's what I want every time I shoot. So, and then you get it. Somehow you get it. it's hard to photograph in Europe, but for sure, if you photograph events, it's much easier.
Yeah.
That's what I usually suggest, especially to young photographers. That's a way to learn because you don't have much pressure around. And people usually they go to events, they go to being photographed.
Yeah.
So
that's true. Like I and Mark, normally we go and photograph Anzac Day, and I like to go because people are expecting to be photographed and they're a lot more relaxed. They're expecting the camera to be there to photograph them, so they don't worry too much about when you're taking photos or how close you're getting or what you're doing. So you're absolutely right, Francesca. So that's great advice to people if you want to start. So, and the other thing I want to touch on what Mark mentioned there, when you go and do a course, what's the point of going to do a course to improve if the person's just going to tell you you're wonderful all of the time? Because you haven't gone there to spend a lot of money for someone to go, you know what, Francesca, you're great. You just keep doing what you're doing. You want that constructive criticism so that you can improve as a person. And I think that's testament to the type of courses you need to look at doing. And that was great for you. So well done, you. That's great. Now I've got another question for you. Now you say you go to events and you go to exhibitions and things like that. There's a lot in Italy, isn't there? There's a lot. They have lots of festivals and stuff. Now I read, and correct me because we've done my research again, that you don't like to photograph in your home city much, Naples, and you would prefer to go and travel more than photograph in your home city. Now, as a person that's never been to Naples and only seen a little bit of Italy, I would have assumed that there would have been lots to photograph in Naples. It would be stunning and it would be interesting. So why is it you don't want to photograph in your home city and you choose to go elsewhere?
Well, it's not that I don't want to. It's just that, I've been talking with other photographers about this issue. And I think a lot of photographers I agree with me. Because your own city is something that there is no surprise, let's say. Even though Naples is a crazy city, is very vivid, is lively, a lot of things going on. It's funny when Vinit was here, because he was here last year, he was like, oh, I feel home. It looks like India. Which is very funny because, India is the third world, but I think Naples somehow it's totally different from the rest of Italy, totally different. So a lot of street photographers are coming to Naples right now to photograph Naples because it's very appealing for street photographers. But it's not because it's not interesting city. It's just because it's my city, and for me, whatever it can seem interesting to you. For me, it's like I have been seeing this every day of my life. I kind of bore with these crazy people, and I can't stand them anymore. It's all about something that it's familiar. It's too familiar. That's it. But I love, the good weather, the blue sky in Naples. I really like cities with the blue skies. And New York is one of them. Istanbul is another one, beautiful city to shoot. And Naples has this very blue sky and sunny days. So it's beautiful to shoot in Naples. It's not that I don't like it. It's just it's also the way I am. I always like something new in my life. I like traveling. I like visiting new places. So it's also a way, to fulfill my soul, let's say.
That's where you get your inspiration from other places.
It's exciting, isn't it? It's, as you say, your home is so familiar. It's so, it can get a bit mundane and same, you see it every single day. So, you're absolutely right. When you go to places like Spain or Istanbul, everything's new. Everything looks interesting, doesn't it? And I guess that can sort of spur you on. And Francesca, I just wanted to pick you up on something you touched on a little bit earlier. So you said you don't go out looking for single shots much anymore. You want to work on projects and a body of work, and it's something that I've been thinking about quite a bit recently. And talk to us a little bit about that. What are you working on, and what are your goals with I guess creating a project and a bigger body of work?
But that's something that I'm starting to do right now, and I say I have a lot of ideas. I want to do this, I want to do that, but then of course money issue is the main problem. So I really want to do a project in New York, but for now I can't afford it. And I would like to explore all the Italian life in New York.
Nice.
Because I think it's something that is going to disappear soon, traditions. And I think it's very interesting to see, I mean, as an Italian, going to New York, and I went to New York at the end of the 90s. So it's not the New York of today.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the New York of the 70s, of the 80s, but it was like a transitional time. So I actually went to live in Williamsburg, and my neighbor was full of Italian places, full of Italian places. My landlord was Italian, my grocery was Italian, my deli was Italian, everything was Italian. And now a lot of those stores are disappearing. And, and I think also the culture is disappearing because the new generations are not going to keep the traditions that the old people, when they moved there after the Second World War, have. Because it's also part of my history, because I also have a family in the US. They are in Massachusetts. They are all over places. But my grandmother's brother went to the States after the Second World War, and so I see how things are changing, and also traditions are changing, and I want my goal will be to capture whatever is left of that kind of culture.
Sounds like a rich
That's
vein.
one
Yeah.
thing. That's one thing I really would love to do it. And something else I'm working on right now, I've been going to Switzerland a lot.
Saw that,
Because I see they have a lot of traditions, very strong traditions, and so I'm trying to catch whatever is happening there. And it just came out. It was by coincidence. It wasn't something I was planning. I have a very close friend there, and she invited me there to shoot because her boyfriend owns cows. They fight. So I first went there to shoot the fighting of cows.
Wow.
Which was very interesting because they fight when they're pregnant.
Oh, okay.
In order to make them more, I guess, I don't want to use the term aggressive, but maybe defensive. So they fight each other in order to keep, their strength. Anyway, I really like the place. I really like this kind of traditions, even though, as well as the bullfighting, they are very. People don't like it that.
That's controversial,
Controversial.
Yeah, things are changing,
Yeah, so probably these are also traditions that are going to disappear, So, and I think it's a lot, also in Italy, there are a lot of traditions, but you don't know if they're going to last.
Yeah.
So I think reportaging this kind of things, it's very interesting.
And I think that's the important thing as photographers, that we forget. We see everyday things all the time and we don't photograph them because we think that they're always going to be there. But this is the bonus of having a long-term project, is honing in on something that you've noticed. Like you can see how your suburb in New York was changing, and how very, very gradually. And I think now things are happening at a more rapid speed since COVID. The changes are, there seems to be a snowballing of economic events that are happening, and things are changing very quickly. So you may not have the opportunities that you think that are there now to be able to document this stuff. And we look back at the old photographers and we look at what they captured, even just the billboards and the barbershops and things like that. And we look at it, but to them, they were everywhere.
Yeah.
At the time when they were photographing, they were everywhere. It was common stuff. So
yes.
But that's an interesting thing that you mentioned, that you felt like you needed to go to New York to do it. Do you not feel the traditions are dying in Italy as well, and you could do it there? Or do you feel that it's not happening as quickly in Italy? Because it's happening everywhere. Change is rapid everywhere in every country now.
No, for me, it's more about my life.
Yeah.
I think also to give a reason to my connection to the States, to New York. Somehow it's also to unfold the chapter of my life.
Yeah.
And
it's personal.
And to report that, to give a voice to whatever has been my life for over 10 years. And it's just something I do for myself.
Yeah, of course.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I think we've always got to photograph for ourselves, first and foremost.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. Don't ever photograph for anybody else. So you have to do it for yourself. Otherwise, you won't have the passion to continue on to do it when it gets hard, difficult,
And Francesca, I also just want to ask you about a specific photograph that you took. It's actually, you're sitting in front of it. It's right behind you. It's one of my favorite photographs, and it's an incredible photograph. It's of a couple dancing, and there's, I think, people watching on from an elevated position. You've used flash. Tell us about where that was and how you got that photo, because it's an extraordinary capture.
Well, actually, that's an event that it's happening on the Adriatic coast of Italy. Every year, it's a gathering of people from all over the world. They all dress up as in the 40s and 50s in US. So they have concerts and they have dance classes. And I have been photographing that event for since probably 2019. And the last year I was there, for Fujifilm. They gave me this assignment. So I was happy because I was able to go, and being sponsored. And that was, as you said, that was a dance floor. They have, during the night, they have different dance floors. There was a dance floor, a very suggestive place. That particular location, because as you said, there are people from above, because it's a medieval castle.
Right.
So you have people on top. They watch over you, and you are, on the ground dancing. So that was a lucky picture, as a lot of pictures are, because as I always say, the little girl came in the frame while I was shooting, and I didn't plan that.
Yeah.
So that I think that made the picture.
And how good to get that photo on assignment, So Fuji sent you there, and you go, look at this, look at how good I am. I've got this amazing photo. Did they give you any more assignments after that, Francesca?
No.
What?
No, they haven't. They haven't.
Come on, Fuji.
Come on, Fuji, right?
They're a bit slack, Fuji. They're a bit loose.
It's weird, but they're not focused on street photography much in Italy.
They should be. Seriously. Everyone uses their camera for street.
They don't have street photographers ambassadors other than that I'm aware of Alex Liverani, who is one of the founders of the Italian Street Photography Festival.
That's
And
bonkers.
actually, they were looking for a female photographer. Yeah, but they told me, the process is long process, blah, blah, blah. And, in Italy, it's so all about money because it's not a rich country. So it's not like in America. So here, they have to find the money to give you the money. So it takes time.
Yeah. Why'd they make the X Pro 3 then, John, if they're not going to focus on street photographers?
Mark, they brought out the X106, and I was at the official launch in Sydney, and it was more about influencers than street photographers. I was shocked. And I'm a Fuji shooter, so I'm a fanboy. So, Francesca, I just want to ask you, going back, you say you go to exhibitions and you go to events and you get wonderful photos like Mark's mentioned. Now, do you go up and build a rapport and talk to people and build a relationship in the event while you're photographing, or do you just go up and photograph it? Or are you talking to people and approaching them and saying, "Hi, I'm a photographer and I think you look wonderful," and you find out a little bit about their history, or do you just go and photograph it?
I just go and photograph.
You don't talk?
I don't care.
like a bloke. Like a bloke.
No, also because with flash, you have to go there and, I'm a Bruce Gilden girl.
Yeah.
I go there and I flash it.
Right.
But I have to say that the approach is changing because, of course, if people stop me and they want to talk and they ask me, they want the pictures. Lately, a lot of my time is sending pictures to people I shoot. So it becomes another job.
That's
actually.
right.
An unpaid job. A lot of work.
I have to say that it's when I was in Sevilla, I had a lot of fun. I mean, it was fun because people were funny, they were friendly, they want to talk, they want to know. They were offering wine. So sometimes it's very nice. Even in India, it was like that. People want to know you. They were curious because they don't see many tourists.
Yeah.
So they're just very curious, and also I'm a white woman with red hair, blue eyes.
Yeah.
So
and they love getting their photograph taken too, because it's.
Oh my gosh, that was another job.
It's a big thing to them, because it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, that's right.
They're like 2 billion people, and suddenly you're there, a white Western woman taking their photo. They feel real special. So they feel like they've just won the lottery.
No, but I think everyone wants a photo of Francesca. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
No, yeah. I mean, and not just me. I mean, all the white people.
Yeah.
I mean, they really like to have him photograph with you, and that again was another job because we spend most of the times being photographed more than photograph them.
That's right.
But it was fun. At the beginning, it's fun. After a while, you just get bored. You can't stand it anymore.
So, come on, get it over and done with.
Gives you a little bit of an idea what it'll be like once you become famous, Francesca,
That's right.
really, doesn't
exactly.
it?
Francesca, I wanted to ask you about flash because of the photo that we just spoke about earlier. You do use flash, but that was at night, so that's kind of to be expected. Using flash during the day on the streets of Spain and Italy, how does that generally go down? I know at events it's probably going to be a bit easier, but when you're just shooting on the street, are people receptive to you taking photos with flash? Have you ever had any run-ins with people on the streets in Italy?
Well, I have had people yelling at me all the times everywhere. It's
Really?
I don't even remember anymore, even without flash. I mean,
Oh, right, okay.
especially, where? In London.
Right.
In London, really, it's crazy. A lot of black people don't want to be photographed.
Okay. That's interesting.
Here, I think it's more, for example, even in Barcelona, I remember if you photograph immigrants, that of course you have to be careful because they don't want to be photographed. But yeah, the use of flash, it's hard. It's hard in the streets. I don't know how people do. I usually, I mean, my trick is to shoot with the very bright daylight when the sun is shining and people don't even realize you're using flash.
Yeah, that's what I do.
That's a tip I can give because, otherwise there is the risk that people are gonna, say something. It's not easy. It's not easy anyway. I don't think the flash or without flash is much difference because people notice you with the camera anyway.
Yeah.
So, Francesca, what is the attraction for flash for you? Why do you shoot flash? If you feel it gives you even more, draws more attention to you, even look, flash is one of those things, like it frightens a lot of people. It frightens me a little bit. I'm not frightened to go up to someone and stick a camera in their face, but if I had a flash on there as well, it would worry me a bit because it goes off and it can, people notice you a lot more. So what's the big attraction for you in flash?
Okay, I'm gonna say just one name, Martin Parr.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I totally fell in love with his work. Totally. And I just want to shoot like him when I was younger. And I think that was my first approach. That was my first reason. And also because I like the colors. I like the colors and I like the colors with the flash. They're just brighter, you know. And also because you have that feeling of freezing the moment that I really love. It's like, you can really see what people is doing, while they're doing things like the almost it can stop the movements. So that's the what I like about flash.
And we've spoken about how you fill the frame and, you're obviously attracted a lot by colour. You use colour so well in your work. It's something I can't do very well. So when you're out on the street, what are you looking for? What attracts you before you hit the shutter buttons? Is it all a combination of those things or are you looking for anything specific when you're photographing?
No, I don't know what to say because it's, I think as for everyone, it's just about something that attracts you and you go for it. You don't have anything in mind, probably. Of course, when I go to the events, I already know what I'm going to shoot. For example, in Sevilla, of course, I went there for colors, for dresses, flowers, whatever colorful was there. So it was actually like the best event I ever been because of that. And also this one in on the Adriatic coast also it's very colorful. So yes, of course I choose this kind of events because of the colors as well. And not only colors, also women dresses, flowers, and I think probably it's a lot about being woman also. I think part of my attractions it's whatever I like. And I like dresses, I like, ornaments and whatever the women can dress. So probably it's all about that. It's most of my pictures are about that.
So Francesca, couple of things. First of all, how do you find all of these events to go to? And how do you know which ones are the best ones to go to? And the second part of that question is, do you go alone or do you go with a group? Do you have a small group of friends that you all go and you do your thing? Or do you just want to go and get all the glory for yourself?
Don't give away your secrets, Francesca.
I have to say, at the beginning, there was a time when I was going with a group of people, group of street photographers in Italy. It was very funny. I mean, I had a lot of fun going around with them. But right now I'm going by myself. also because
okay.
it's difficult to schedule an event or something, a trip with somebody else. It's not because I wouldn't like it. Actually, I always look for people, they want to travel with me, but it's very hard to find, your friends being free the time you're going to be free. Also because of time lapse and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm going by myself. I usually, I see pictures. I see pictures around. I like some events, and I'm gonna go there. For example, now I'm gonna go. That's my because I really love the work of an English photographer, Bevillard, JP Bevillard.
Oh yes,
Okay.
You know
yeah.
him?
He photographs travel communities and things like that. Yeah, he's amazing.
So I just plan to go there next month to this gypsy gathering in the middle of nowhere in England.
England's very small. It'll be near somewhere. It'll be fine.
And it's I've been to London several times. I love English culture. It's very different from American culture, and probably I like it even better. So I'm very curious also, probably because Martin Parr is from there. But I like exploring. I was in North Ireland a couple of years ago, and I loved that area. Really love. Not much to photograph, not much, but beautiful places, beautiful. I like the people. I don't know. I like the futures of the people. Even in this gypsy thing, I like this little girl with the blue eyes, blonde hair. There is always something that can catch my attention, and that's the reason that moves me to go somewhere.
And I think we can see that in your photos, Francesca, that you have a connection with people because you photograph them so well. It's almost like you're there. When you look at your photos, it's almost like you're there I'm there taking the photo when I look at your photos because you immerse yourself in it. You seem to get so much enjoyment from their enjoyment, so to speak. That's how it comes across when I look at your work anyway. It's definitely your passion. And I think it speaks volumes when you've come from photographing no people and architecture to totally embracing this, just throwing yourself in amongst people, even though it might make you feel uncomfortable when you first started. You've certainly come a long way, and it's Mark and I both really appreciate your work. It's great.
Well, Francesca, we've almost come up to a lot of time, but I did want to ask two quick questions, and one of them ties in really neatly to what you've just been talking about. But first, quickly, would you ever consider going back to black and white? I know you started with
Never.
Never. Knock that on the head.
Never. And I actually, there is a certain kind of black and white, like, let's say, I will call it the Italian black and white, which is all about, tradition. In Italy, it's really, there is this very strong culture of photography in black and white. Or at least there has been for many, many years, especially in my cities, in Naples. Most of the photographers, they shoot in black and white. They are very into traditional black and white. So I do like it, but it's not my cup of tea. And I like colors, and I could never live without colors. And I always say to myself, my life is in colors. Why do I have to shoot in black and white?
Exactly. Oh, that's definitive. Yeah, that's good.
And even if you think about it, even at the beginning of the age of the era of the photograph, I was actually in at this conference yesterday. They were talking about pictures, the daguerreotipo, from Daguerre, the first pictures. Even then, they didn't photograph in color because they couldn't get the colors. But eventually, I remember my grandmother's pictures. They were colored, which I love it. They were so beautiful.
Yeah.
But they were colored because the real life is in colors. So of course you want to get the real things. You don't want to get something different from what is your life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my idea, but of course I appreciate also black and white in some kind of photographers, but not everyone. I mean, I have to say I don't follow, I think maybe only one photographer I like. I really love it in black and white, but I don't follow many black and white people.
It's not you, Mark.
Oh, no. I was waiting.
No, it's not you.
Oh, damn it.
Well.
Look, we as I just mentioned, I just want one quick question, John. Sorry, your name on Instagram, Francesca Who. I've always wanted to know why the Who. Oh, you don't want to say?
No, it's just because Francesca Chi, my last name, the first three letters in Italian, it's Who.
Oh.
In English.
Right.
So if I used to, for example, my email is Francesca Chi.
Right, yes.
And in English, it's Francesca Who. And I like it,
That's
the idea of,
there you go.
like, which Francesca? Because there are a lot of Francescas in Italy. So it's just a funny
There's
thing.
a lot of Johns around as well, so I know how you feel. There's a lot.
John Who.
Yeah, John Who. John Who. So, Francesca, we're coming up to the end of our allotted time, as Mark said. We always ask one question. It's a bit cliched, but we always ask it. If you could go anywhere in the world to photograph, where would you go and why?
Right now, my dreaming trip is in Japan.
Ah, nice.
Because I've always been interested in Japanese culture. I read a lot of Japanese literature. Murakami was one of my favorite writers. So since I was probably 19 years old, I had this dream to go to Japan. Japan and China, both of them. So I'm actually, waiting for the money to go there. So yeah, and of course Australia. I wanna come to Australia.
Well, no, Japan's fantastic. It's and a lot of festivals, a lot of people there, Francesca. So you do some amazing work. So yeah, get there if you can. It's Australia's too far. It's boring. Don't come.
Don't listen to him, Francesca.
But there are a lot of good photographers in Australia. How come? How come? Really, there are a lot of great photographers.
There are. No, the scene here is very vibrant. A lot of good photographers here.
There are lots of good photographers.
We're very lucky. Yeah.
Trent Park,
and I love the light. The light is amazing.
Light's good. Absolutely.
Yeah, the light's amazing. Yeah. If you like blue skies, don't go to Melbourne.
Hey. It's been good recently.
It's been good recently.
Don't you talk.
But Francesca, if you go to Japan, we all know that most of the people who go to Japan photograph in black and white. So what are you going to do?
Well, she'll do it differently.
You never know. She might come back converted.
It doesn't sound like it.
Actually, okay. Well, I can't remember Tatsuo.
Yeah,
Tatsuya. Yeah,
Suzuki,
yes.
yeah. Yep.
Suzuki, yes.
I met him last year. I met him in Luxembourg.
Yeah.
And he's super nice, and he has been following me. So I think
there you go.
he likes color.
Yeah, he does. He does. He follows me too. I love Tatsuya's work. It's great. I'm one of his fans. I love his work.
Yeah,
it's awesome. It's awesome.
I love him. Yeah, I love his work. And again, I think there are Japanese street photographers in colors.
I'm sure there are.
I can't come up with anyone, but I think there are. I'm pretty sure there are.
I'm sure there are.
There must be.
There's
somewhere.
a few I follow. Yeah. There's a few I follow that in color. So I was just teasing. You should reach out to Tatsuya because the Void Tokyo group.
I know.
You should
It's
if you
very
head over there.
interesting.
Yeah, they've got a
Yeah.
great group of photographers there, and I'm sure that if you were to reach out, they would love to catch
And
up
actually, I had also some of my pictures exhibited in Tokyo through this woman that did an exhibition of women street photographers last year.
Oh.
And she also did a book, and she chose my picture as cover.
with you. Oh, wonderful!
And actually, well, the curator of the exhibition, the book was Marcy Lindsay.
Mhm.
You know her? She's
Yeah.
from DC.
Yes, yes, yeah.
And I know Marcy. She's a friend. And so my book, my Japanese book has my cover, my picture on the
That's
cover.
amazing. Awesome
Fantastic.
stuff.
Awesome.
So I felt like, okay, so now I have to go to Tokyo. That's for sure.
So
They
Tokyo
chose
it is.
me.
Yeah, great.
Wonderful, fantastic. Well, Francesca, thank you again so much for your time. We've had an absolute ball talking to you. It's amazing meeting you and having a chat. And yeah, thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure. It was really my pleasure knowing you. And thank you for reaching out to me.
You're welcome.